YouTube and stars. As you can see, I have a co-star today. I'm in the adult room, so hence Thomas has decided to join me. But this video is going to be a NXT and a Smackdown recap. NXT was really good, and the first thing I want to say is we finally have a new NXT Women's Champion. Yes, we do. Rhea Ripley actually submitted Miss Baszler, which I was very excited about. That was the main event, so you had to wait for the whole show to be able to see that. But it was a very physical match, and like I said, they ended up kicking the counterparts of Baszler out, the two clonies over there, because they ended up getting involved in the match, but they got thrown out, and it was shortly after that it was close. Baszler did almost make Rhea pass out, but Rhea finally came back and submitted Baszler. We also had a NXT men's title match, which Adam Cole won. We saw the return of Johnny Gargano during that match, which I think attributed to the Adam Cole winning, because of course that distracted Finn Balor. But hence, that is the two main events that were on. The men's match was the first match, but I thought it was a good way to start out the show. We also saw Damian Priest defeat Killian Dane with the Reckoning, and he got the 1, 2, 3. They announced the return of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. We saw Cameron Grimes defeat Kushida. We saw, Thomas, what else did we see? What else did we see, Bubba's? We saw, of course, we saw Dakota Kai do an interview about Mia Yim. We also saw Pete Dunne defeat Travis Banks from NXT UK. They did announce, originally I thought the NXT Worlds Collide was going to be the end of December. Turns out that that's actually the weekend of Royal Rumble. So it'll be the weekend of the 27th. That'll be Saturday, and the Royal Rumble will obviously be on Sunday. Yeah. NXT's on Saturday, Royal Rumble's on Sunday. We saw Io Shirai defeat someone named Santana Garrett. Apparently she's a newcomer to NXT. Pretty good. She was trained, apparently just got out of, she's been in for 10 years, they said, but it's the first we really see of her. She must have been in Japan doing her craft. But that was basically NXT. Like I said, pretty good show. We did see a new women's champion. And then we saw SmackDown. SmackDown was okay. We started out SmackDown with Daniel Bryan in the ring, talking about his last encounter with Bray Wyatt, where he was under the ring and Bray Wyatt pulled out his hair, supposedly. Said that he had gone home, and the change came when his daughter did not recognize him. Apparently, he claimed that Birdie was afraid of him with no facial hair and long hair. I think it would be the other way around, but if that's the only way Birdie had known him, it's a possibility that she would be afraid of him. So apparently that brought out The Miz, because Daniel Bryan said that he was going to go after Bray Wyatt again. And Daniel Bryan came out and said that Bray Wyatt had physically gone after his family, so he felt like he had the right to take Bray Wyatt on, thus bringing out Corbin And King Corbin said, I don't know how he made these two connections, but he said because he had defeated Kurt Angle in his retirement match, yes, we are still talking about that from WrestleMania, and because he defeated Roman Reigns at Survivor Series or TLC, that put him in line to be the next one to go for Bray Wyatt for the title. Like I said, not really sure where that connection was made, but that is what he said. So of course the Ziggler came out and they got into a little tiff. They ended up super kicking and giving the end of days to Daniel Bryan and The Miz. So this leads to a tag team match later on in the night. We had the Revival versus Heavy Machinery, and we saw a kind of curious exchange between Mandy Rose and Otis. Apparently, Mandy Rose gave Otis a ham because she picked him for Secret Santa, and she kissed him on the cheek. She did kiss him on the cheek. He brought the ham out, and of course, with the Revival, it was a Miracle on 34th Street fight. We ended up seeing Heavy Machinery win that match because they messed with the ham, and this pissed Otis off apparently and caused him to go into a tear. We saw the Revival after that match. They kind of seemed like they were going to go off camera, like off cue, and we're talking about how they were surrounded by trash around the ring, meaning the presence, not the audience, their words, and how that was what they had come to, having Miracle on 31st Street fights or ladder matches and whatever happened to old school tag team wrestling, and how they started going on about what they wanted their legacy to be. This brought out Elias, and he did a song about how they needed a change, and he brought up Jenner, the one that had the sex change, Bruce Jenner, not Bruce Jenner no more, but you know who I mean. Brought her up and said that was the kind of change that they needed to make. And then he left the ring, or left the stage area, and they left the ring. We saw Carmella versus Sonya Deville. Carmella got the win via submission once again. I was kind of surprised about that. We saw the New Day versus Shinsuke and Cesaro. Before this match, there was kind of a exchange between Braun Strowman and Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn told Braun that he picked him for the Secret Santa and wanted to know what he wanted. Braun told Sami that he wanted a Intercontinental title match. Of course, we know that Shinsuke is Intercontinental Champion, and Sami's not going to let that happen. So Sami basically said no, that he would have to come up with another present for Braun. So the New Day ended up, the reason I say this is to explain the aftermath of this match. The New Day won the match. We had Kofi pin Cesaro, and then the three, Cesaro, Shinsuke, and Sami, ended up attacking the two New Day members that are still active. And this brought out Braun Strowman. He beat the crap out of Shinsuke and Cesaro. Sami ended up escaping with his life, but so we'll have to see where that leads. We saw Bayley versus Dana Brooke. Bayley, of course, won that match. They kind of surrounded Dana Brooke after the match, thus brought out Ms. Lacey Evans, and she challenged Sasha to a match and told Sasha that she wasn't a legit boss. She was a legit bully. Apparently, Evans's family was on ringside. They had the match. Sasha was in control for a good part of the match. The match ended during a double countout where Evans and Banks were outside of the ring. Banks had control and was teasing Evans's daughter, who looked like she was probably about 5 or 6. And this threw Evans into a rage, and Evans beat the crap out of Sasha. So yeah, that was basically what happened with that. I'm sure that's going to lead to a match at the Royal Rumble. We'll have to see. Daniel Bryan and The Miz and Corbin. Daniel Bryan and The Miz versus Corbin and Ziggler is the main event. We knew that where that was coming from. And we had The Miz and Daniel Bryan win the match. Right, like towards the end of the match, they had announced that it was official. Next week, we're going to have a triple threat match for The Miz, Daniel Bryan, and King Corbin, and the winner to face Bray Wyatt at the Rumble. So at the end of the match, as you got the little thing that they put down in the corner, the title of the show, the lights went out and all you heard was Bray Wyatt's laugh. The three of them were left in the ring kind of looking at each other, and that was how Smackdown ended. So that was your Smackdown and your NXT. Both okay shows. NXT was once again better than both Raw and SmackDown. And like I said, we have a new women's champion on NXT. And once again, we saw no title matches on Raw or SmackDown. And not really sure when we're going to see any. Bayley's match was a non-title match. New Day's match was a non-title match. And they were the only two champions that wrestled. So, tell me what you think. Tell me what you thought of the shows if you watched them. Were you excited when Rhea Ripley submitted Baszler? Let me know. All right, YouTube. Thanks for watching. Peace.